Okay. So, good afternoon, class. So today we'll be discussing the continuation of our chapter for preferential taxation. Okay. So, last meeting, so we have already discussed, right, the starting part of the senior citizen law, right? So, with preferential taxation, we already mentioned the senior citizen incentives. Now, moving forward, let's discuss the treatment and other deductions related to senior citizen. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. So let's proceed with the tax exemption related to our senior citizen law. Okay. So I've put here we have three items that we are considering with regards to tax exemption. So number one would be if a senior citizen is a minimum wage earner, they are income tax exempt upon requirements compliance. So it is mentioned sa ating book, no? So again, yung book na ginagamit natin would be Attorney Attorney Ortega's book. Okay? So, as mentioned here, kapag minimum wage earner, income tax exempt upon requirements compliance. And then also na-mention din natin dito, ang sales sa ating senior citizen are VAT exempt. So, we've already mentioned this here. And also yung sa, I think sa SAID na-mention din natin to. And also with regards to the business taxation. So, we mentioned na sales to senior citizen are VAT exempt. So, sabihin kapag merong pertaining sa sale ng isang entity with regards to senior citizen, hindi sila subject sa VAT. Okay? So, with regards to our page 252, so mention da no sa page 252 kung ano ba yung tax treatment of the discount granted to senior citizen. So, pag meron daw discount granted to senior citizen, no, dapat daw tanggalin natin yung VAT related dun sa sale na yun to senior citizen. But before that, so third na point natin dito sa tax exemption to senior citizen is additional deduction for senior citizen compensation paid. So, kung natatandaan niyo pa, when we discussed previously with the income taxation, so kapag meron tayong tinatawag, di ba, na cost of sale, na mga item of deductions na cost of sale, ordinary allowable itemized deduction or OAID, SAID, which is special allowable itemized deduction, and then si NOLCO. So with regards to the SAID or sa special allowable itemized deduction, 'di ba? Yun meron tayo dun na under special laws, no, kapag ikaw daw ay nagpasahod or rather pag nagpasahod ka daw dun sa mga employees mo which is pwedeng may senior citizen, yung pasahod mo daw sa senior citizen, you can claim that as another SAID. Okay, so aside from compensation expense mo siya, meron kang additional percent na pwede mong i-claim as SAID or special allowable itemized deduction na additional deduction siya aside dun sa pasahod mo sa kanila. Pero again, dapat hindi mag-exceed sa poverty level yung yung senior citizen na pinapasahudan ni entity. Okay? So, na-mention natin dito na kapag senior citizen ngayon pinagbentahan natin, dapat siya ay VAT exempt at the same time meron tayong discount na allowed sa kanila. Now, if you look sa page 252 sa book na ginagamit natin, so kapag kuwari given sa problem na merong selling price, so sabi dito selling price, for example, a VAT registered drugstore sells 10 pieces daw ng pneumococcal vaccine to a senior citizen at an undiscounted selling price of 56 per piece na meron daw kasamang VAT. Okay? So, the cost of the discount is computed as follows. Since ibig sabihin 56 pesos per piece, yun ay meron ng kasamang VAT. So, you have to divide that by 1.12 kasi inclusive na siya ng VAT to get the 100% of which is si 50 pesos and then times 10 pieces. So, ibig sabihin 500 pesos yung selling price without the VAT dun sa receipt nung senior citizen. So, with that 500 times mo lang sa 20%, ibig sabihin ang discount doon ni senior citizen ay 100 pesos. Therefore, if asked sa problem, magkano yung amount payable ni senior citizen, you have to multiply the 50 pesos VAT exclusive times 10 pesos, that would be 500 times 80%. Ibig sabihin, 400 pesos yung amount payable by the senior citizen. So if you look sa page 253, mention din doon. So, dapat daw sa book ng entity, ang reported niya na sales ay gross. Sabihin, undiscounted, no? Tapos, dapat mapapakita mo na lang si ating discount, no? Dun sa ating deductions. Okay, and then yung sa discount natin makikita siya dun sa deductions natin. So sa entry naman, pag pinag-usapan natin yung entry, ang entry mo doon debit cash. Say for example, dito sa problem, ang na-receive ay 400 pero ang sale talaga ay 500. So ang entry mo dan debit cash kasi 400 yung na-receive. And then debit senior citizen discount which is si 20% ng 500 and then credit si sales na 500 pesos. So ganun yung entry natin doon. Okay? Okay. Now, let's proceed sa next na slide ko. So, sa next slide natin is tax computation na related sa ating senior citizen. No, so yan ay makita natin dito sa page 200. Asa na yan? Wait lang. Andito yan sa ating 256. If I'm not mistaken. Wait lang ah. Parang nag-mash up siya. But registered seller. Okay. Okay, so dito tayo sa page 256. So, ayan yung example natin related dun sa mga na-mention natin kanina dito. So, apply natin siya dito sa tax computation natin kapag merong senior citizen tayong sale. So, dito sa page 256, as you can see here, so say for example, so sa problem daw is, meron daw, so inano ko na lang yung given dito, no? So meron daw regular sale na VAT exclusive worth 7 million. May sale naman daw sa senior citizen na 1,120 pero yung 1,120 may kasamang VAT yan and then walang gross yan ng discount. And then ang actual sales discount daw ay 25%. No? And then cost of sale without the input VAT to pertaining sa regular sale 4.6 million and then cost of sale pero VAT inclusive yung given sa problem na related sa sale to senior citizen naman ay 448,000 and then si operating expense naman na pertaining sa other na operating expenses na hindi related sa senior citizen would be 2 million. And then salaries to senior citizen employees, meron tayong 100,000. So as you can see here sa right part, nag-note ako ng mga kailangan ko i-note para madali yung computation. So yung regular sales, pag mag-compute kasi tayo ng income tax, basically dapat walang kasamang VAT yan kasi sa business tax yun related, hindi sa income tax. So kaya dito, regular sale, ni-note ko na lang na sale yan. And then si senior citizen, so hindi ko naman na siya nilagay doon, pero again, 1,120 yan. Tapos, cost of sale tong regular, cost of sale din tong si senior citizen. Pero, dinivide ko siya sa 1.12. Mamaya, mapakita natin yan. Kailangan siya i-divide sa 1.12 kasi si 448 ay inclusive na siya ng VAT. E di ba kapag magkakapit ka ng income tax, si expenses mo should be VAT exclusive, lalo na kapag VAT registered tayo. Kasi kapag VAT non-VAT ka, yung mga input VAT mo, magiging part na siya ng normal mong expenses. Pero if hindi kasi, di ba, hiwalay yun. So, kaya hindi dapat siya kasama. So, you have to divide it by 1.12 to get no, yung ating pinaka expense talaga. Now, moving forward, so sa operating expense, sinode ko under yan ng ordinary allowable itemized deduction, same with salaries to senior citizen employees. Now, ba't ako nag-note ng mga next nating part dito? Kasi, di ba na-mention natin kanina, kapag meron kang empleyado na senior citizen, which is naka-note dito, may salary daw si senior citizen, though hindi naman sinabi kung hindi nag-exceed sa poverty level, ang assumption natin, hindi siya nag-exceed. No. So, if that's the case, ibig sabihin, pwede siyang maging SAID, which is, si 100,000 o AID yan, pero under SAID ruling kasi, yung 100,000, 15% nan, which is salary to senior citizen employee, pwede mo siyang i-claim as SAID. So, kaya dito, you have to multiply the 100,000 to 15% to get the 15,000 peso classified as SAID. Ano ulit sa SAID? That would be special allowable itemized deduction. So, gagamitin natin yun na additional deductions mamaya sa pagko-compute ng income tax. Now, next to that is the allowed discount to senior citizen. So, kasi 'di ba dito sabi may actual sales discount na 250,000. Eh 'di ba na-mention natin nung initial discussion natin, up to 20% lang yung pwedeng i-claim na deduction with regards to the discount. Now, if that's the case, so pag kinompute kung magkano yung ating magiging discount no na pwede nating i-claim as SAID, that would be yung 20%. So, anong nangyayari dyan? So, sabi dito, si senior citizen sale kasi natin na 1,120, gross of discount yan, VAT inclusive. So, kung gross of discount yan, wala pa yung, sabihin, hindi pa siya nababawas si discount. So, si 1,120, buong sale pa yan plus VAT, si VAT inclusive daw. So, you have to divide the 1,120 by 1.12 kasi may kasamang ang VAT yan to get the 100%, which is si VAT X. So, 1,120 over 1.12, that would be 1 million times natin sa allowed na discount natin to be claimed as SAID, which is si 20%. So, you will now have your 200,000 as SAID natin. Now, moving forward with regards to taxable net income, so, computin lang natin yung ating gross income less deduction. So, si gross income natin, so dapat yung sale mo, VAT exclusive yan ha. So, si 7 million, si regular. Si senior citizen, na-mention naman natin na 1,120 VAT inclusive yan. So, dito na-compute mo yung VAT X na si 1 million. So, add na lang natin yun doon. So, meron kang total sales of 8 million less si cost of sale, pero dapat VAT exclusive yan, which is, ano yung cost of sale natin? Dalawa yan. 4.6 tsaka si 448. Pero si 448, VAT inclusive. So, you have to divide by 1.12. So, makuha mo doon ay 400,000. So, 400 plus 4.6, yan na nga si 5 million. So, 8 minus 5 million. So, ang gross income mo ay 3 million pesos. Less si OAID na 2,100,000. Less si SAID na 200,000 tsaka 15,000. You will now have your total deductions of 2,315,000. Less mo kay 3 million, you will now get your taxable net income of 685,000 pesos. Multiply mo na lang kung ano yung tax rate applicable dun sa entity natin. Okay? So, ganun yung mangyayari sa atin. So, say for example, regular R-seat natin, that would be 25%. Okay? Kung subject sa M-seat, edi 3 million times 2%. So, whichever is higher, yun yung magiging income tax due. No, so hindi na naman siya pinakita dito. Okay? So, that would pertain sa ating tax computation or taxable net income related sa ating sale with senior citizen. Now, moving forward, so na-mention na natin yung computation ng sales discount, and if you can still remember, when we are giving kasi no, yung senior citizen discount, dapat if you look dito sa ano natin, sa book natin, dapat daw directly and exclusively na ang nagbe-benefit lang talaga ay si senior citizen. Now, if you can still look here sa ating book. So, if that's the case, ma'am, paano pag nagkaroon ng sale pero total receipt inclusive of multiple person, isa lang yung senior citizen. So, yan yung makikita natin sa next example natin dito. What if, paano mag-compute ng sales discount if we have a billing pertaining to multiple person and then only a portion is pertaining to the senior citizen. So, if that's the case, para malaman mo daw yung sales discount kapag yung resibo ay inclusive ng different customer na hindi senior citizen. So, kailangan mo daw gawin, kung magkano yung total billing, you have to divide that to the number of the customers. Tanggalin mo si VAT, no? And then, saka mo siya i-multiply kay 20% to get the sales discount. Now, so say for example, this is the problem. So, si Akay daw is a senior citizen na nag-order ng family size pizza and fries and drinks from a restaurant for his wife, 59 years old, and two daughters na ang invoice price daw ay 1,000. Now, so you look at the customer. So, sa senior citizen, si Akaino, siya daw yung umorder ng pizza, fries, and drinks. Pero ang kumain talaga ay apat sila, which is a senior citizen plus si 59 years old wife na hindi pa classified as senior citizen kasi wala pa siyang 60 years old, and then two daughters niya. So, most likely, hindi yung senior citizen, di ba? So, if that's the case, sa 4 na tao, isang senior citizen, tatlo hindi. Okay? So, based on the problem, based on the computation or the formula above, total billing divided by number of the customers, less 12% VAT times 20%. So, parang pinaka-ibig sabihin talaga dan, total billing divided by number of the customers times the portion pertaining to the senior citizen. So, kung apat si customer, isa sa senior citizen, edi divided by 4 times 1. Pero kapag 2 sa senior citizen, tapos apat yung kumain. So, divided by 4 times 2. Yan. No? So dito sa problem, isa lang naman. So, divided by 4 lang siya. No? So, ganun yung gagawin natin. So, ang invoice price daw niya ay 1,000 pesos. Now, we have to know magkano dito yung pertaining na kailangan nating ibawas na VAT attributable to senior citizen kasi VAT exempt lang si senior citizen related. And then, kailangan din computin magkano yung 20% discount na dapat kay senior citizen lang. So, meron tayong 1 and 2 na kakomputin dito. Doon muna tayo sa number 1. Magkano yung VAT na pertaining dun sa senior citizen sale natin. So, if that's the case, invoice price, 1,000 pesos divided by 4 yung customers. And then, wala na tayong multiply na times 2 times 1 kasi isa lang naman si senior citizen. So, yung makuha mo ng 250 dan na invoice price, eh, pang isang tao na yan na pertaining kay senior citizen. So, si 250, inclusive pa yan ng VAT, di ba? So, ang hinahanap mo, VAT pertaining to kay SC or senior citizen. So, 250 pesos, inclusive pa yan ng VAT, so divided by 1.12 times 12%. Yun yung VAT attributable kay senior citizen, which is si 26.79 na dapat ibawas kay invoice price to get the amount payable. So, hindi to side ha. Ito ay amount payable talaga yan. Sorry, hindi ko na siya nabago. No. So, moving forward, so meron ka ng attributable to SC. Next mga alamin, magkano yung allowed discount to senior citizen, no? So, magkano yung discount, which is si 20%. So, alam mo naman si invoice price, 250. So, tanggalin mo si VAT, no? Magiging ang invoice price talaga ni senior citizen without the VAT or VAT X price ay 223.21. Multiply mo lang si 20% na discount kasi ang discount pertaining yun sa VAT exclusive na price ni senior citizen. So, 223.21 times 20% na discount. So, meron kang senior citizen sales discount na 44.64 na ibabawas mo kay invoice price together with the VAT attributable to senior citizen to get the amount payable natin. Ibig sabihin, pag na-receive na ni Akaino yung resibo, most likely ang babayaran niya doon is yung 928.57 kasi bawas na siya ng VAT pertaining to the senior citizen, tsaka yung 20% discount na pertaining kay senior citizen. So, ganun yung mangyayari kapag mayroong sales discount, computation, tas multiple yung customer na hindi naman lahat senior citizen. Na? So, ganun yung magiging computation natin. Okay? So, moving forward, let's okay na tayo sa ating senior citizen. So, move naman tayo sa ating Magna Carta for PWD. So, persons with disabilities, no? So, itong Magna Carta for disabled persons. So, persons with disability are those individual defined under Section 4 of Republic Act 7277 na an act providing for the rehabilitation, self-development, and self reliance of persons with disability as amended. So, sabi dito, Magna Carta for PWD, so person suffering from restriction or different abilities as a result of a disability or impairment to perform activity in a manner considered normal for a human is the person that is beneficiary or that are the beneficiaries of the Magna Carta for PWD. Okay? Okay, so nakanote na lang din dito when we say disability, so hindi lang siya physical, no? Pwede ding mental impairment. Kaya nag-note nga tayo dito na in general yan, disability or impairments. Ano man type of impairment yan, no? Na nakakapaghinder to function as a normal human. Okay? Now, with regards to the incentive, so this is actually almost the same with the sales, with the discount or the incentives rather of the senior citizen. So with regards to the PWD incentive, so nandun din yung grant of 20% discount or promotional discount, whichever is higher, and VAT exemption on selected goods and services from all establishments, and then once per transaction. So same lang din dun sa senior citizen natin, no, na 20% yung discount, pero hindi mo siya pwedeng i-avail simultaneously with another discount. Kaya sabi nga dan, 20% discount or promotional discount, whichever is higher. Okay? Okay. And then dapat once per transaction lang siya. So number 2, it's also indicated here. So tong one actually sa other privileges incentives sa to page 259. So yung 1 to number 7. So most likely that's pertaining to this number 1 here. No, 20% discount on selected goods and services from all establishments. So the next one, which is number 8 sa book natin, would be the educational assistance. So PWDs can be given by the educational assistance, no? Kung ano man yung secondary, primary, post-tertiary na mga education, no? And then, number 9 sa book natin, pero number 3 dito is to the extent of practically or practicable and feasible, pwede daw i-continue ni government yung same benefits and privileges by GSIS, SSS, and pag-ibig as the case may be. And then number 10 sa book, number 4 dito would be the special discount and special programs for PWD on their basic commodities purchase. And then number 5, number 11 sa book natin, priority in all establishments. Regardless kung merong lane para sa PWD, priority po talaga dapat ang PWD and senior citizen. Okay? Now, with regards to the availment of the privileges, ano daw yung kailangan masubmit, no? So sabi dito, upon submission ng mga Filipino citizen of any of the following as proof of his or her entitlement thereto. So dapat daw merong ID, no? A passport or transportation discount uh, or passport or transportation discount for fare ID issued by the NCWDP or the National Council for the Welfare of Disabled Person. Okay? So yun yung nakanote natin dito. Now, so again, dapat Filipino citizen siya. Now, with regards to the treatment of the sales discount, same lang din yan dun sa senior citizen natin. So if ever nagkaroon ng collection, say for example, from the sale to a discounted PWD, so ang entry nilang ng entity doon, debit cash, debit PWD discount expense, credit credit sale or sale. Now, so ganun lang, i-normal lang din natin process. And then for page 262, we have a summary here, so you can just um, recap this, no, if you have to look at the summary. So, nandito siya sa page 262 natin. Okay? Moving forward, so we're now good with Magna Carta and senior citizen law, which is somewhat closely related to each other or similar. Now, let's proceed with the next part of our preferential taxation, which is which is the basic principles of tax treaty and provisions for double taxation agreement model. So if you can still remember, we've mentioned before, no, sa ating mga discussion na income tax and business taxation na meron tayong tinatawag na mga tax treaty, di ba? Na this indicates na meron tayong pwede magkaroon ng different or exemptions o kaya pwedeng reductions rates, no? So with regards to basic principle of tax treaty and provision for double taxation, so sabi dito, it is noted that as a business, that alam daw niya, lalo na kung across multiple jurisdiction yung isang business, dapat aware sila na merong potential na mataksan sila sa kanilang same activity. So when we say kasing double taxation is you are taxed with the same transaction or the same source or asset and then in two different countries or jurisdiction. Jurisdiction, no? So, ganun yung nangyayari. So, syempre, kung alam mo pala na pwede kang mataksan twice, so to avoid this, no, tong double taxation na to. So, ang isang country or nagkakaroon daw ng tax treaty. So, that's one of the solution to reduce or to avoid the double taxation within across the multiple jurisdictions, which is the countries specifically. No? So, ganun daw yung mga nangyayari. Now, again, one of the solutions to avoid double taxation is to enter a tax treaty. Now, when we say tax treaty, no, so, ano ba muna si treaty? So, si treaty kasi, this is any legally binding agreement between nations. So, when we say treaty, this is a legally binding agreement between nations. Now, for the tax treaty itself, ano namang ibig sabihin nun, ma'am? So, si tax treaty naman, this is a bilateral, when we say bilateral, two parties involved or two countries. So, this is a bilateral agreement made by two countries to resolve double taxation issues of their citizen. Kasi di ba may mga citizen na, di ba kuwari dito sa atin, kapag may resident citizen tayo, there are taxable within, from income, na ang sources ay within and without the Philippines. Diba? Kapag resident citizen, taxable ka kung kahit saan man galing yung income mo. So, kapag mga ganong scenario, to resolve double taxation, kasi baka mamaya tax na sa atin yung lahat ng income ni resident citizen sa abroad, tax din yun doon, 'di ba? So pag ganun yung scenario, double taxation yun. So to avoid that, so two countries uh, have this bilateral agreement para ma-resolve yung mga double taxation issues ni senior citizen, ni citizen or resident citizen nila. Okay? Now, anong objectives? Why two countries enter tax treaty? So, na-mention natin yung iba kanina. Pero, merong two main objectives or key objectives yung tax treaty. So, number one, again, para ma-minimize yung double taxation potential. And then, number two naman, sorry. So, number two naman ay to reduce tax evasion potential for lang, but for yan, cross-border jurisdiction and transaction. So in other words, para ma-minimize yung double taxation and then para ma-minimize din yung pwedeng mag-evade ng tax. Kasi syempre, pag nakita nila na natataksan sila, ganyan-ganyan, so syempre, baka gumawa na lang sila ng illegal or bawal na way para ma-evade yung taxes nila kasi doble silang tinataksan. So, yun yung iniiwasan. Iniiwasan magkaroon ng double tax potential. Then, pangalawa, iniiwasan na merong mag-tax evade para maiwasan yung double taxation na yun. So, yun yung key objectives ng tax treaty natin. Now, moving forward, let's proceed. So, with regards to international tax treaty, so sabi dito, sa Philippines, no? Philippines has existing tax treaties with US, United Kingdom, Canada, and Singapore, and many other more countries. No, so madami talaga yung meron tayong tax treaties with, no. So, ano pa? So sabi dito, the tax relief, no? Kasi 'di ba pag may tax treaty, again may tax relief tayong inaano dan para nga ma-relieve 'di ba yung mga citizen for double taxation. So the tax relief includes pwedeng tax exemption, so hindi talaga matataksan, no, under the tax treaty, or magkaroon ng entitlement to preferential rates. So, ibig sabihin, kuwari, imbes na 20%, 15% na lang, or ang other relief nga is exempted talaga. So, yun yung yun yung inclusion ng tax relief. Pwedeng entitlement ng preferential o kaya tax exemption itself. Now, so under the tax code, so sige, moving forward. So, resident citizen or domestic corporation may claim foreign taxes paid as tax credit or deduction. So, ito, recap na lang to kasi di ba na-mention natin before, if you're a resident citizen or domestic corporation, you are taxed on your income from sources within and without the Philippines. So, it might be na meron tayong tax dito sa Philippines and then sa abroad may tax din siya with the same tax subject. So, kapag ganda yung scenario, nagbayad ka ng foreign taxes, again, pag resident citizen ka or domestic corporation, pwede mong i-claim yung foreign taxes paid mo as ordinary deductions o kaya pwedeng tax credit. Pero pag tax credit, may limit yan. Ay yung nagko-compute tayo ng foreign tax credit limitation, di ba? Kapag single country, foreign country, or double or multiple country, 'di ba? Yung meron tayong limit whichever is lower. Yung kailangan mo computein yung income tax due, tapos ipoperate mo based dun sa taxable income ni ni foreign country and then over the world income. So, yun lang din naman yun. So, mention lang din siya dito kasi that's another way to claim no yung para maiwasan or ma-avoid yung ating mga double taxation. So, pwede natin mag-claim ng tax credit for foreign taxes paid. Now, who can claim or apply for tax treaty relief? So, sino ba daw yung pwede mag-apply for tax treaty relief? So, syempre, number one dan would be si non-resident, no? So, anong nangyari kasi, di ba kanina, dito sa na-mention natin, si resident citizen, hindi naman niya non-resident, 'di ba? So, most likely, parang hindi pala siya pwede mag-tax treaty. Pero kasi nakalagay naman dan, pwede naman siyang mag-claim kasi ng foreign taxes paid as tax credit or deduction. Pero again, with regards to tax treaty relief, ang pwedeng mag-claim po nito ay si non-residents. No, so non-residents, and then nakanote din dan, non-resident individual and corporations with income derived from the Philippines, no? sources and residing country has a DTA wait lang, with the Philippines may apply for tax treaty relief. Wait lang, ba't nagaganto yung ano ko? Wait, ano yan? Okay. So again, ang pwede daw mag-apply ay non-residents. No, non-residents yung pwede mag-apply. And then also may naka-note pala dito na 43 daw yung countries na mayroong tax treaty sa Philippines. Pero as of March 4, 2025, may nadagdag na isang country. So, 44 countries siya as of March 4, 2025. I'm not sure lang kung may mga nadagdag pa after that. No. Pero yun yung ano natin, updated as of March 2025. Merong 44 countries tayong with tax treaties. Okay? So again, ang pwede daw mag-apply for tax treaty relief ay yung mga non-resident individual or corporation na merong income derived from sources within the Philippines and whose country of residence has an effective DTA with the Philippines or their duly authorized representative may apply for a tax treaty relief. So, before kasi pwede mag-apply ng tax treaty relief, no? So, dapat meron talagang tax treaty. Kasi 'di ba ang nag-uusap din kasi country to country. So kapag magki-claim ka ng tax relief, dapat may existing ano, DTA with that country nung sabi nga din residing country nung non-resident na 'yon. Okay? So ganun yung na-mention natin dan. So non-resident at the same time that may tax treaty. Now, so actually wala siya dito sa slide ko. Pero may nakalagay dito under the Revenue Memorandum Order number 8-2017, a non-resident is defined, ito yung na-mention na naman natin to before, kailan siya magiging non-resident kapag si Enranet B ay hindi nagstay sa Philippines for more than 180 days. So kapag parang hindi siya nagstay dito ng more than 180, sabihin less than, no? Parang not significant portion of the year, nandito siya. So, sabihin, non-resident siya, no? And then kapag foreign naman, non-resident foreign corporation being a corporation registered in another jurisdiction and not engaged in trade or business in the Philippines. So yun yung kailan siya masasabing non-resident, pwede corporation or sorry. Okay. So types daw ng Philippine income na pwedeng masubject sa preferential tax treaty rate and or tax exemption under effective Philippine DTA, pag sinabing DTA, double tax agreement. So, pag preferential rate daw, ang mga pwede mo subject sa preferential rate, yung mga dividend, interest, royalty, remitted RBF or remitted branch profit and profit of shipping and air transport in international traffic. So, most likely parang pertaining tayo dito sa final tax, no? Sa final tax pertaining sa preferential rate natin. Okay? Pwede kasing bumaba yung rate. Kumari, di ko masyado matandaan eh. Pero yung sa previously kasi, yung sa previous company ko. So, meron kaming parang tax dun sa mga services rendered here nung ito dito. Services rendered ng from abroad. So, meron yung final tax rate na 20%. So, with regards to kapag may tax treaty, pwedeng lower than that yung i-tax doon. No? So, yun yung mga preferential rate, yung mga para more on final tax. No? Reduced yung rate nun. Now, for the exemption, ano naman yung mga pwedeng ma-exempt under the tax treaty relief. So, yun na may mga business profit, under din yung capital gains, yung mga professional services, income of athletes and performer. So, yan. May mga items dan na ma-exempt siya. So, kung kwali, subject sa tax, pero pag may tax treaty, pwede ma-exempt yun. No? So, yun yung sa ano natin. Tax treaty relief. Now, with regards to tax treaty relief application, so sabi dito, in the Philippines, the BIR or have developed specific tax treaty relief procedures. May procedure naman when paying dividends, interest, and royalty income to non-resident corporations. This is implemented through the BIR Certificate of Residence for Tax Treaty Relief Form na commonly known as CORT. So, CORTT. So, ito yan nasa ano natin, nasa slide natin. So, dito sa page 264 to 65, may binigay lang din process sa atin dan. So, sabi dito, securing a tax treaty relief requires, again, filing of a formal request to ITAD or International Tax Affairs Division ni BIR. So, if you are to claim tax treaty relief, you have to file a formal request sa ating ITAD ni AR. No, kailangan mag-file ng formal. Tapos may mga, ano yun, may mga requirements kang kailangan ipasa other than the court and other files pa, no? Or documents. No? So, yun yung sa ating tax treaty relief. So, again, kailangan may tax treaty between the countries before ka mag-file ng tax treaty relief. Kasi pag walang tax treaty, bakit ka pa mag-apply ng tax treaty relief, di ba? Pwede ka lang mag-file ng tax treaty relief if mayroong tax treaty between the countries na involved dun sa transaction. No? So moving forward, we're good with that. So proceed naman tayo sa ating page 265, which is pertaining sa ating fiscal incentive. So, with regards to fiscal incentive, so ano ba meron sa fiscal incentive? So, tax provisions granted to qualified investment projects to promote and encourage investment and development. So, medyo pinahaba lang siya dito sa ano natin sa page 265. Pero again, that is the tax provisions granted sa mga investment projects na qualified, no? Kasi mayroon tayong criteria para maging ma-qualify sila doon to promote and again, encourage investment and development. So, syempre, para ma-encourage na magkaroon ng investors dito, so mayroong binibigay ng mga fiscal incentives, no? So, when we say fiscal and non-fiscal incentive, pag fiscal incentive, sabihin something na merong of value or monetary. The non-fiscal is hindi naman of monetary value. Now, so sabi dito, okay, so dito naman tayo sa book natin. Page 265, so meron ditong investment laws that provide fiscal and non-fiscal incentive. So meron tayong actually 8 dito sa book natin, no? We have the SEZA the SEZA or the Special Economic Zone Act of 1995, RA 7916, meron tayong Zamboanga City's Special Economic Zone pa din, Act of 1995, Cagayan Special Economic Zone Act 1995, Aurora Pacific Economic Zone and Freeport Act 2007, Freeport Area of Bataan Act of 2009, Omnibus Investment Code, Basis Conversion and Development Act of 1992, and then lastly would be the other special laws. If you can still see here, so yung items number 1 to 5 natin are most likely pertaining to the free port or mga special economic zone natin. So dun siya related, no? So sabihin kung dun pala siya related, so yung 1 to 5 natin, hindi natin siya paghihiwalay-hiwalayin. No? So kasi nga, pertaining naman siya sa mga economic zone. No? So moving forward, so sa page 266, minention lang din dan yung mga IPA natin. Kasi sabi nga dito sa book natin, based on the above law, it created various IPA. So yung mga law sa taas, bumuo siya ng IPA. So ang other term, ang meaning ng IPA ay Investment Promotion Agency. So yung mga investment promotion na agency na nabuo nung 8 na na-mention natin kanina, yun na yung nasa page 266 yung 15 natin dito na items. Yung mga BOI, PEZA, etc. etc. No? So yun yung minention dito. Pero sa book natin, yung mga importante lang yung highlight natin kasi masyado siyang madami kapag lahat highlight natin. Okay? So for items 1 to 5, so dun sa ating investment law, so yun yung mga economic zone and free port, no? So with those economic zone, sabi dito, yung RA, Republic Act 7916, binuon nila yung IPA na PEZA. Okay? So yung under that law, nabuo yung PEZA natin, which is si Philippine Economic Zone Authority. No? So si PEZA kasi, promotes the establishment of special economic zone in the Philippines for foreign investment. So special economic zone or referred as ecozone or selected areas may highly developed or which have the potential to be developed into agro-industrial, industrial, tourist, recreational, commercial, banking, investment, and financial centers. So sa PEZA natin, no, ayun yung may mga daming ano, 'di ba? Meron tayong Science Park, 'di ba? Yung dun sa Santa Rosa, Biñan. So, iba-iba yan. Iba-ibang lugar yan, no? Na merong economic zone nga, no? So, yan. Sa page 266 yan if you want to look at the full uh, text dun sa book natin. Okay? Now, ano naman yung makukuha ng incentive if coverage siya ng items 1 to 5 na na-mention natin dito sa ating investment law. So, ang makukuha daw dito for the first or initial years, meron siyang income tax holiday, no? And special corporate income tax of 5% of gross income earned in lieu of national and local taxes for registered enterprise depending on location and industry priorities. So, mamaya mas madidiscuss talaga natin yan sila, no? Pero again, dito muna tayo sa mga initial na mention natin dito sa book natin. So, ayan. So, sabi dito, may income tax holiday and meron din after ITH is yung special corporate income tax which is 5%. Now, so, with regards kasi dito sa ano natin, no? Sa law natin. So, noong 2021 kasi nagkaroon tayo ng create law. No, nagkaroon tayo ng create law which is uh, corporate recovery, corporate recovery of tax incentives now for enterprises. No? Pero after kasi ng create law, ng 2024, nagkaroon ng Create More Act. No? So, nagkaroon ng Create More Act. So, kaya dito naglagay ako ng green dyan kasi um, under under Create More Act, so si Ecozone or sa mga enterprises na naka-ITH or naka-SC or Special Corporate Income Tax, subject hindi pala special corporate. So, ang mga enterprise na may ITH or nasa period na sila ng enhanced deduction, so meron silang 2% na RBELT. Ano si RBELT? Siya si Registered Business Enterprise Local Tax. Ibig sabihin, kapag may income tax holiday siya, mas madidiscuss natin yan din. Pag may ITH siya, subject din siya sa 2% na RBELT, which is si Registered Business Enterprise Local Tax na 2%. No, may madidiscuss naman natin yun, yung ITH, no? Pero yun, ibig sabihin, may local tax subject sila na 2% dun sa gross income nila. So, ganyan ibig sabihin dun, no? So, yan yung sa una natin, numbers 1 to 5 for the related sa Freeport and Economic Zone. Now, after that, meron tayong tinatawag. So, sa book natin, page 267, inuna ko muna yung omnibus kasi yun yung kasunod ng number 5 dun sa una nating investment laws. So, si number 6, ito naman si Omnibus Investment Code of 1987, which is Executive Order 226. So, kung kanina PEZA yung nabuo, dito naman BOI yung nabuo, which is si Board of Investment. So, yung makukuha nating incentive dito, somewhat similar lang din. So, nakita nyo din, ITH, pag ITH, subject sa 2% RBELT, and SC na 5% ng gross income in lieu of national and local taxes for registered enterprise, engaging to activities under the IPP or Investment Priority Plan. So, yun naman yung sa number 6 natin under the Omnibus Code of 1987. Okay? Now, dun tayo sa next natin. The number 7, nasa page 267 pa rin yan. Yan yung sumunod na number 7 na Basis Conversion and Development Act of 1992 under Republic Act 7227 as amended. So kung kanina PEZA BOI yung nabuo, dito naman ang nabuo ay si BCDA. So si BCDA, yes, siya si Basis Conversion and Development Authority. So, ang incentive nila na binibigay dito, fiscal and non-fiscal pa rin. And then, ang purpose nito is to accelerate sound and balanced conversion and development of the former na U.S. military bases into special economic zone for economic and social growth, specifically kay Central Luzon, pero in the whole Philippines in general. So, yun naman yung meron sa number 7 natin. Now, with regards naman sa number 8 natin, I see other special law. So, ma-mention natin yung create law dito. So, sa other special law kasi, ito yung mga other laws pa na hindi na-mention dun sa 1 to 7 natin. So, sabi dito, prior to create, so, ano lang pala, no, just a rationalization. Yung create niliitan ko yung E para alam nyo yung meaning nung create. Kasi, ang meaning ng create ay corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprise. So, kaya inilitan ko yung E kasi yung E doon, recovery. Yun, no? Para alam natin yung meaning. So, prior to create law, under Republic Act 11534, so tax and non-tax incentives, kasi may mga incentive na hindi related sa tax eh. So, tax and non-tax incentives are governed down ng several special laws. Initially, special laws, iba-iba talaga sila. But are then rationalized to create a simplified and uniform system. So, kung dati, special law lang yung nag-govern sa mga tax and non-tax incentives, no, ng ibang mga enterprises. So, under the create law, so ang nangyari, si national, no, government or si buo create law, so sabihin, parang meron din silang say yung create law natin with regards dun sa mga incentives. Hindi lang yung mga IPA agencies na govern ng special laws, no. So, ganun yung nangyari. So, prior to create law, yun nga, governed by several special law pero somewhat nirationalize or sinimplify sila nung create law natin na RA 11534 natin na ayan po ay naging effective noong April 11, 2021. Okay? So iba si create law, no, iba si train law. Yung train law kasi pwede yun sa mga individual taxation naman yun. So yung train law, tax reform for acceleration and inclusion law yun. Ito naman, create law, ito yung pang corporation, no? For corporate recovery and corporate recovery and tax incentive for enterprises. So, yan yung sa number 8 natin. Okay, so again, create law, Republic Act 11534. So na-mention na natin yung create law. So, tingnan natin ano ba yung mga tax incentives under create law. So, tax incentives under create law. So, doon muna tayo sa ating scope and coverage. So, sa scope and coverage do ng create law ng tax incentives, dito sa page 268, meron tayong 5. Okay? So, ang tax incentive under create law shall apply to the following daw. So, number 1, lahat daw ng existing IPAs enumerated under the tax code as amended. So, yung mga IPA natin, di ba? BOI, mga economic zone. So, yan. So, lahat daw ng existing IPA enumerated under the tax code as amended. Yun daw ay covered nung ating create law. Unless meron nakanote talaga sa law natin na mayroong specific na hindi. Number 2, mga all newly registered projects or activities under the Strategic Investment Priority Plan. Na sabi dito, including dito yung mga qualified expansion projects or activities ng mga export enterprise and domestic market enterprise. So, ayun yung paulit-ulit natin ma-mention mamaya. Si EE tsaka si DME. So, si EE si export enterprise, si DME siya si domestic enterprise. No, so sabi dito si export enterprise, ang mga under the export enterprise, yung mga manufacturing, assembly, processing, IT, BPO, to another export enterprise na forming ng 70% ng at least 70% nung output nila. And then kapag domestic enterprise naman, yun naman yung enterprise registered with IBA na other than the export enterprise. So yun naman yung sa ano natin na-mention dito sa number 2 natin. So, si SIPP, ma'am, ano naman yan? Si Strategic Investment Priority Plan. So, ayun naman si SIPP. Plan niya na prepare ni Board of Investment in coordination with the Fiscal Incentive Revenue Board or FIRB, IPA, mga Investment Promotion Agency natin, and other government agencies na administering yung mga tax incentives or yung nagbibigay ng mga tax incentives and si private sector itself na nagkiklaim ng tax incentive na approved ni press and also contains syempre ng mga priority projects and and activities. No? So, yung number 2 natin. So, number 3 naman natin ay registered enterprise, projects, or activities currently registered with IBA enjoying incentives prior to create. Under din yun ang scope niya. And then, sa registered enterprise pala, ayun yung mga enterprises natin na under the PH law and registered with an IBA, excluding yung mga service enterprise like mga customs coverage or brokerage, tracking, etc., etc., na dinetermine ni FIRB. So number 4, mga other government agencies administering tax incentives. So covered din sila ng under ng CREATE law. Then lastly is si government-owned and controlled corporation, GOCC, o kaya GI, government instrumentalities, GC, government commissaries, and SUC. So si SUC ay si SUC, ano si SUC? Hindi ko naalala. State U and colleges that were granted tax subsidies under Tax Expenditure Fund under the Annual General Appropriations Act. So, kung naaalala nyo pa yung government accounting nyo. So, na-mention yun doon, yung mga general appropriation ng mga funds. No? Now, so in effect, just to summarize, so under CREATE law, application and approval of tax incentives to certain entities which are previously granted by various IPA shall now be governed by CREATE law. Okay, so yun yung ibig sabihin ng mga na-mention natin dito. Kung dati, IPA lang yung may ano sa kanila, may responsibility. So under CREATE law, governed na din sila ng CREATE law natin. Okay? Now, moving forward, let's proceed with the authority to grant yung na-mention natin yung tax incentives natin. So with regards to the extent of authority granting the tax incentive, no? Sino nga ba may authority, no, to grant mga tax incentives natin? So sabi dito, ang may power talaga to grant tax incentive with the recommendation of the IPA is si FIRB or si Fiscal Incentive Revenue Board. So sila talaga, di ba revenue review rather. So Fiscal Incentive Review Board, sila yung merong power to grant tax incentive with the recommendation of the IPA. Pero kailan ba kasi siya kay IPA? Kailan ba siya kay FIRB? So nakanote tan, si FIRB nga yung may power to grant, di ba? Pero pwede siyang i-delegate yung authority na yon ni FIRB kapag yung investment capital nung nagki-claim or nag-a-apply ng tax incentive na yon ay less than or equal to 15 million. Take note, nag-note ako dan. Dati kasi, before Create More Act, ang threshold natin dan na investment capital ay less than or equal to 1 billion. Pero under Create More Law or Republic Act 12066 noong 2024, no, ang naging threshold na ng investment capital is less than or equal to 15 billion. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kapag less than or equal to 15 billion ang magpa-process nun, hmm, ang kapag ang mag, ang ka-process nun ay CIPA. Pero pag nag-exceed na dun sa 15 billion, FIRB na talaga. No? Yung ibig sabihin nun. Now, with regards dun sa ating investment capital. So with regards dun sa ating investment capital, ano ba yung inclusion nun? So pag sinabi investment capital, this is the value of investment in peso, excluding land and working capital to carry out the registered project or activity. So, sabi dun, investment capital pala, hindi dapat kasama yung land tsaka working capital. Maliban na lang if yung project or activity ay real estate. So, pag real estate, hindi kasama yung land. No, shall be included dapat. Okay? And then, nakanote pala dan, si IPA, meron daw siyang power to grant under create law provisions dapat and then limited with dapat ng SIPP approved project or activity. So kung yung pwede lang daw yun kapag SIPP approved project or activity. No? Yun lang yung govern nun. Now, with regards din sa mga tax incentives natin, so ano ba yung mga tax incentives natin? So na-mention na natin yung ITH kanina tsaka SC. So with regards sa tax and duty incentives natin, so that would be under page 271. Meron tayong 5 actually talaga. So number 1, income tax holiday. Number 2, SCIT or Special Corporate Income Tax Rate. Number 3, Enhanced Deductions. Number 4, Duty Exemption on Importation of Capital Equipment, Raw Materials, Spare Parts, or Accessories. Number 5, VAT Exemption on Importation and VAT Zero Rating on Local Purchases. So, ayun yung mga tax and duty incentives natin. Okay? Now, doon muna tayo sa una, which is si ITH or si income tax holiday. When you say income tax holiday, from the word itself, holiday, so this is temporarily exemption of the enterprise from income tax. Pero again, dapat yung magiging income tax exempt is yung mga registered activity niya lang ha, or project. Ma'am, ano ba yung mga registered activity na yan? So, ibig sabihin, ayun yung na-register nila sa PEZA, no? Or kung sa amang IPA, na ito yung registered activity namin. So, any income from unregistered activity, subject yun sa normal tax. Okay? Kaya nakalagay dan, may exempt lang sa enterprise from income tax sa kanyang mga income from registered activity or project na nakanote dun sa kanilang registration. Now, and then na-mention ko kanina, exempted lang sila sa income tax, no? Pero subject pa rin sila sa local tax na RBEL, which is 2% ng kanilang gross income. Okay? And then kapag ITH, siya ay subject to 4 to 7 years. So, 4 to 7 years pwedeng i-claim yan, no? Daga lang kahaba yung pwede siyang hindi taksan for export enterprise and domestic market enterprise. Now, ma'am, bakit 47? Ba't hindi fixed? Kasi, hindi yan fixed kasi if you look sa ating page 281 sa latter part, nakalagay dan na yung ITH niya paiba-iba ng period. Depende sa location, depende din sa tier. Kasi meron tayong tier 1, 2, 3. Tapos meron din tayong iba-ibang location like NCR, Metro, tsaka yung mga all other areas. So if you look sa page 281, no? Yeah, 281 may tier 1, 2, 3. Tier 1 be having the shortest ITH. Depende kung NCR, metropolitan, and all other areas. So, nakita nyo that, ayan yung magiging itsura niya. For export enterprise, same with DME or domestic market enterprise. So, magkaiba sila per location and then per tier. No, kaya 4 to 7 years yan. Hindi siya fixed. No? Now, pwede siyang ma-extend yung 4 to 7 years na yan if nakalocate daw sa recovering areas, 2 years pwede ma-extend. And then kapag relocating naman, which is if you look sa page 272, kapag relocating outside of the NCR, may have additional ITH of 3 years for both domestic and exports. Kaya nakanote dan, 2 years if recovering location, 3 years if relocating to outside of NCR. So, yun naman yung na-mention natin dyan. Now, okay? Now, moving forward, so after the 4 to 7 years period, sa enterprise siya kasi DME, mag-iiba na yung mag-iiba na yung ano sa kanila, subject sa kanila. Wait lang, hindi ko pala nabura, wait lang ah. Enhanced deduction lang dapat to. Wait lang ah. Wait lang class. You have to see. Wait lang. Oh. Okay. Hayain na. Anyway. Okay. So, proceed tayo. Hindi ka lang nabura kasi. Okay. So, proceed tayo. So, kapag export enterprise, yung tinutukoy natin, no, yun na ngayon may mga manufacturing, IT, etc. Kapag after ng ITH niya for 47 years, ang next niyang gagawin, mamimili siya kung SIT yung i-claim niya or enhanced deduction. Okay? Take note, nakalagay dan at the option of the export enterprise, pwede siyang mamili kung SSET or enhanced deduction. And then kapag namili na siya dun sa dalawa, kung ano man yung pinili niya, irrevocable na yun during the entitlement. Say for example, kung SSET, say for example, 10 years yung entitlement niya doon, pag pinili niya na yung SSET, di niya na yung pwedeng i-revoke na, ay ayoko na pala, ED na lang pala after 5 years. Hindi. One of the two, na irrevocable during the entitlement. Okay? And then if domestic market enterprise naman, wala na siyang kailangang pagpilian. Matic yun, enhanced deduction siya subject. Okay? So, yun yung dito sa page 273 natin. Now, okay. So, moving forward, let's proceed with incentive number 2. So, sa incentive number 2, na-mention ko nga kanina, pwede daw maging SSET kapag REE. So, kaya nakalagay dyan, no? Incentive number 2, SSET for export enterprise only for 10 years if chosen. So, pag pinili daw ni EE na SSET yung magiging subject siya, so 10 years yun pwede niyang magamit. Now, alam mo mangyayari ma'am kapag ano po, incentive number 2 kapag SSET. Kapag SSET, ang mangyayari dahil ang tax niya, 5% ng gross income earned. Okay? 5% ng gross income earned, pag sinabing gross income earned, that's gross revenue, no? Gross revenue less returns, allowances, discount less, direct cost or COS or cost of sale or cost of service. So, yun yung GIE natin. So, pag may other income ka, other operating income, so i-add mo din yan. Part din yun noon. Now, so may 5% ka nga sa GAE natin. So, yun yung SSET natin na pag i-remit mo na siya, 3% nan sa national, 2% sa local government. No, hindi mo siya buong i-remit sa BIR or sa national, kundi 3% lang dapat sa BIR or national. And then 2% naman sa local government. Pero again, no, ito ay pertaining lang dapat yung revenue na ginamit mo dito sa GIE computation, dapat pertaining lang yan sa registered activity or project. Okay? Na yan again ay in lieu of national and local taxes. So kung sa ITH, exempt siya sa income tax pero subject sa 2% local tax, dito sa SSET, subject lang siya sa 5% na sa GAE, hindi na siya subject sa kanyang national other or local taxes. So, yan lang yung magiging tax niya. Okay? Pero again, exclusive dapat yan ng fees and charges under the local government code na discuss natin sa chapter 3. Okay? Now, so, pag sinabing 2% ma'am, i-remit namin sa local government, sino po yan? So, yung 2% na yan, local government, ayan po ay yung treasurer ng municipal or ng city na located yung REE natin. Okay? So, with that, proceed tayo sa example ng SSET natin. So, that's under page 274. So, sa page 274 pala, in-enumerate din yung mga expenses na direct cost na magiging babawas mo sa pagkukompute ng ating GIE. Okay? So, page 274, so pinakita ko na lang yan dito sa slide natin. Sa SSET pa rin to. So, expert enterprise has the following data related to its registered activity. Say, for example, tapos na yung ITH, no? Tapos ito na yung data niya. May gross revenue, 50 million. May cost of sale, 30 million. Merong other income, 3 million. And operating expense na 10 million. So, magkano daw yung income tax due kapag tatapos na yung ITH, tapos pinili daw yung SSET? So, if that's the case, GAE 5%, no? So, gross revenue, 50 million minus cost of sale, 30 million. And then, add mo si other income kasi hindi naman sinabi na subject sa final tax yan, di ba? So, 20 plus 3 million, so that would be 23 million na GIE. Multiply mo sa 5% na SSET natin, so you will now get 1,150,000. Kapag tanong, magkano pa yung remitted sa BIR? So, ibig sabihin, national government yung tinutukoy dan. So, you have to just multiply the 1,150 to 3 over 5. Kasi proper mo yun. Kasi 1,150 pertaining to 5%. So, 3 over 5, that pertains to the remittance to the national government. And then yung remainder, which is 2 over 5, will be income tax payable to local government treasurer yan, ha? So, tanggalin mo na yung BR. Di ko lang naitama. So, 460. So, pag inad mo, ganun yung magiging total remittance mo for national and local government. Okay? Now, so after that, so let's proceed with Incentive number 3, which is C, enhanced deduction. So as you can see sa book natin, hindi na siya binigyan ng madaming example kasi if you can still remember yung side natin, ganun lang din yan. So kung may normal kang deduction, magkakaroon ka lang ng additional deduction na percentage nung actual expense mo. Okay? Kapag nakita nyo dan, si enhanced deduction, di ba na sabi ko kanina, kapag REE, SC ang pwedeng gamitin or enhanced deduction, whichever is the chosen option. Pero pag DME, enhanced deduction yung directly. Kaya pag dito, pag pinili daw ni enterprise, hindi si SIT, kundi si enhanced deduction, 10 years pa rin yon. So it's either 10 years ka as SIT or 10 years as EE. Pero pag DME, 5 years lang yon, ha? 5 years lang yung enhanced deduction niya. Okay? Ano yung enhanced deduction natin? So, sabihin, number 1, depreciation allowance, 10% of building, 20% for machines or machinery. So, magiging additional niya na yan na deduction or enhanced deduction, pambawas sa pagko-compute ng taxable income. Aside pa yan dun sa normal na depreciation, no? And then, sa page 276 po ito, no? Number 2, labor expenses, 150%, R&D, 200%, training expense, 200%. And then pag enhanced deduction, subject pa rin sila sa local tax ha. Parang yung sa ITH kanina, 2% na local tax na RBE local tax. No? So number 5, domestic input expense. Ito yung mga other pa niyang mga expenses, no? 150%, and then power expense 50% siya before Create More Act, pero nagkaroon ng Create More Act naging 100% na po yan, no? Kaya 50% na ka-red, actual niya na ay 100%. Again, additional to na deduction ha. So meron siya, ito ay expense niya talaga, pero pwede siya mag-claim ng additional deductions na 100%, no? Number 7, reinvestment allowance for manufacturing industry up to 50%. And then number 8, si enhanced NOLCO na ang losses during the first 3 years can be carried within next 5 years. Ang normal kasi 'di ba 3 years mo lang siya pwede i-carry over. Pero sa enhanced NOLCO pwede siyang within next 5 years. So sa page 277, mention na lang din yung conditions para ma-avail yung 8 yan na enhanced deduction. Pero pag binasa niyo yan, ang pinaka ibig sabihin lang niya or pinaka meaning or hina-highlight ay dapat directly and exclusively used or related dun sa project. Yung capital, dapat related yung mga deductions na yun sa, directly related dun sa mga registered activity niya. And then local, yung purchases. And then Filipino, yung beneficiary if ever salaries man or training expenses. No? You can just read na lang din. Okay? So, other than that, so next na tayo, incentive number 4, which is duty exemption on importation of capital equipment, raw materials, spare parts, and accessories. Okay? So, sa page 280, may summary na lang din pala yan, no? Yung mga ating enhanced deduction tsaka ITH. Ma'am, wait lang. Before pala tayo mag-proceed. Ma'am, paano po kapag tapos na yung ITH, tapos naging SSIT na siya or enhanced deduction, tapos natapos din yun, ano pong mangyayari? So, pag natapos na yun, yung income from registered activity, hindi na siya exempt, hindi na siya subject sa 5%, or hindi na siya subject sa enhanced deduction, magiging subject na po siya sa normal tax rate. No? Na, ang normal tax rate niya, before create more, 25%, pero after create more, subject na siya sa 20%. No, mamaya mag-discuss natin yun briefly. Now, so number 4 naman natin is, ayun nga, duty exemption, yung mga duties sa mga importation, di ba? Meron tayong taxes and duties for importation. So, yung mga duties daw, pwede siya ma-exempt pag pertaining sa importation ng capital equipment, raw mats, spare parts, and accessories. And then, ito daw, pwede daw siyang ma-exempt sa duties for 17 years kapag export enterprise, pero pag domestic market enterprise naman ay 12 years lang siya pwedeng ma-exempt dun sa duties nun. Pero again, may conditions na naka-mention yan dito sa page 282, no? Page 282 na ang nakalagay dan or naka-note ay ang condition niya, syempre dapat yung equipment, raw mats, spare parts, accessories directly and exclusively used, reasonably needed ni enterprise for the registered activity, may prior approval ni IPA, yung pag binenta niya, sale, transfer, or disposition within first 5 years from importation date. If the sale, transfer, or disposition is without the prior approval, si registered business enterprise and receiver of the item shall still pay, no? Shall still pay the solidarily liable to pay the 2 times amount of the duty exemption. Dapat kasi may prior approval. Parang ang nangyayari kasi, exempted ka. Binenta mo pala. No? Pag binenta mo, dapat may prior approval para hindi ka magbayad ng doble. Pero kasi pag binenta mo siya, no, pwede siyang maging, yung exempted na duty, kailangan mo siyang bayaran kapag binenta mo siya ng within 5 years from importation date. Ibig sabihin, parang hindi mo naman siya ginamit talaga directly exclusively kasi ilang years mo lang ginamit, binenta mo na agad or dinispose mo na. So, hindi ganun. So, kaya dapat, kapag may ganun, may prior approval. So, nakanote din dan, what if naman inutilize mo siya sa non-registered activity or project within the 5 years from importation date? So, kapag ganun naman daw, even with or without prior approval yan, kailangan pa rin niyang magbayad, kailan niya bayaran yung exempt duties kasi parang ginagawa pala sa non-registered eh. So, yung exempt duty mo, dapat di siya na-exempt. So, kailangan, bayaran mo. Kailangan mo i-prorate yung exempt duties doon. No? So, yun nakalagay dyan sa ating page 284. Now, so lastly would be the incentive number 5, which is VAT zero rating or exemption. So, dito sa VAT zero rating or exemption natin, so sabi dito ay 17 years for export enterprise only. Kasi ang VAT zero rating, no, at exemption, pertaining lang yan sa export enterprise, yung mga PEZA, etc. No? Yung mga, yung tulad sa previous namin company, yung in-export sa ibang bansa, no? So, yung mga manufacturing. So, 17 years for export enterprise only, hindi siya pwede sa DME. And then, ang VAT exemption naman niya ay pertaining sa kanyang importation. And then, zero rating naman para sa kanyang mga local purchases. Pero ado, ano yung ado? So actually, directly, exclusively used dun sa registered activity dapat para maging zero rating. No? So yan yun siya. Okay? So sa page 285, hindi ko na siya nilagay sa slide ko kasi nilagay ko pala siya. Okay? Ayan, nilagay ko pala siya. So sa page 285, ang nangyari kasi dito, ma'am, paano po pagtapos na yung expired na po yung ITH, yung ano natin, yung SSET or enhanced deduction. So, pag expire na yung lahat, magiging taxable na siya sa normal tax rates niya. Kaya nakalagay dan, after the expiration period, the enterprise shall pay all applicable taxes at the regular rates under the tax code after expiration of incentive period. So, that is higher between the RSET and then the 2% MSET. Kung natatandaan nyo pa, 2% MSET pertaining sa gross income, 20% pertaining sa taxable net income. So, dati, 25% talaga yung rate for registered business enterprise, pero under Create More Act last 2024, na-reduce na siya from 25% to 20%. So you have to compute higher between the RSET na 20% based on the taxable net income and then 2% MSET based on the gross income ni RB. Okay? So after the incentive program or period rather, so paano naman yung computation? So again, 2% MSET or 20% na income tax due. No. So, say for example, hindi ko lang siya nabago dito, pero dapat 20% na yung gamitin niya dan. No. So, kung 20% yan, dapat ang ginamit niya dan, kung 20% yan, hindi ko pala pinakita dito. Wala pala siya dito. Anyway. So, kung 20% siya, multiply mo lang. So, 13 million times 20%, no? Which is, mas malaki pa rin naman yun compare kay MC, no? So, kaya pinakita niya dan, kapag MC hanggang gross income lang times 2% kasi dun base si 2%. Pag RC naman, kailangan mo i-consider na yung operating expense. Kaya minawas mo na yung 10 million na operating expense with a total taxable net income of 13 million times RC, 25%. Yun din syempre, dapat 20% yan pertaining dun sa RBE na tax rate natin under Create More Act. So, ang income tax due niya ay 20% ng 13 million. So, that would be, ano yung 20% nun? Ayun, 20% nun. So, 2.6 million. So, ganun dapat yung income tax due niya. No, after the incentive period. Okay, so I think that's it. And then page 286, you can read na lang din yon. And then same with 287. I'm not sure kung ba't nandito si 287. Okay, sa 287 kasi pertaining yun doon sa discussion niya sa UIFRS, yung sa taxable income, reconciliation with the accounting income. Now, so just to last lang, no, hindi ko pala siya na present. Pero under the Create More Act, no? Under the Create More Act, meron dito period of availment and incentive. So the availment period of incentive under Create More Act is as follows. So kapag the approve ng IPA, so kapag export enterprise, tapos export enterprise, so 4 to 7 years, tapos after nun, ESIT or EDR na 10 years, no? Or yan, kasi 'di ba whichever is, kung ano yung gusto nila sa dalawa. Tapos after nun, expired na. Okay? O kaya pwedeng, di ko pwedeng ang nangyari, meron ng ganito under Create More Act na hindi na siya mag-ITH. Diretso na siya sa SC tsaka EDR na 14 to 17 years. Depende kung anong tier or location. And then kapag DME naman, ganun din. 4 to 7 years na ITH. Ang EDR, 10 years siya pag DME. Ito yung sa under Create More Act na kasi yung pinakita natin kanina, tsaka yung nasa book natin, create pa yun. Kaya pag nakita nyo, di ba parang iba yung inano nun. Pero sa Create More Act, ito na yung updated ha. Dito na lang kayo magbase kapag Create More Act na yung pinag-uusapan. So kapag IPA yung nag-approve, pag sinabing IPA yung nag-approve, ibig sabihin less than or equal to 15 billion, di ba? Pag REE, 47 ITH or plus SIT EDR, or pwede namang SIT EDR na lang, pag-add mo na lang yung years, 14 to 17. Pag DME naman, walang SIT, EDR lang, and then save lang sila ng years, 10 years. Tapos 47. Kapag ayaw niya ng ITH, diretso na siya sa EDR, 14 to 17. Now, kapag approve naman ni FIRB, or ibig sabihin kapag exceeding 15 billion, ang REE, ganun pa rin, 47 SIT EDR, pero 20 years na yung SIT EDR kapag FIRB. Kasi ito na yung more than 15 billion yung kanilang investment capital. Tapos, pwede naman sa option 2, diretso na siya sa SIT or EDR, wala ng ITH. Ito yung, again, Create More Act. No? Pag DME naman, or High Value Domestic Market Enterprise, 4 to 7 pa din. EDR, kung 10 years yung kanina, 20 years yan dito. And then, pwede naman sa option 2, wala ng ITH, diretso na siya sa EDR na 24 to 27 years. So, ito yung mga period of availment and incentive under Create More Act. So, you have to copy ko na lang. Lagay ko din siya sa slide na i-upload ko. No? So, ayan yung ano natin. So, with regards to Create More Act, so, nilagay ko na lang din yan dito sa slide ng i-upload ko to. Yung sa slides, saan ko pa nilagay ito? Slide ng Create More Act. Wait, hanapin ko lang ha. So, with regards to Create More Act, nilagay ko yung, no, mhm. Create More Act, nandito yan sa slide. Ano ba yun? Ay, may slide 30 pag in-upload ko. Sa slide 30, nilagay ko doon yung kailangan nyo i-search para makita nyo yung pinaka-full article na nandun yung Republic Act 12066 for the Create More Act. Ha? Nandun yung may mga revision sila. You can just look at it na lang. Kasi yung sa book natin, hindi pa dito updated yung 2024 na Create More Act. November kasi ata to yung sa Create More. So, medyo late na siya. So, hindi na siya kasama sa book na old. I'm not sure kung meron siya dun sa bago na hindi na din naabutan. No? Pero ayan yung, but you have to read the full article regarding ni PNA ata, regarding dito. You can just read dun sa ano natin. Sa page, slide 30, nandun yung search nila yung Create More. No? So, yan siya. Okay, so I think that's it for our chapter 4. So if you have any other questions, so pwede nyo naman akong i-chat, no? And then sa GC natin, so or sa Teams, no? You can just state your answer or your question there, and then I'll try to answer, no? So that ends our discussion for today. So hope you learned something. So, upload ko na lang siya sa drive natin. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.